All right, today we are going to throw the ultimate party. And so of course that means party house. Let's go ahead and load this up. And we're going to do a random scenario so we don't spoil anything from the pre-made scenarios. And here we are. Kind of just dumps you right in. So let's go over a couple of basics. We have our Rolodex here. Our Rolodex is the same no matter which campaign we're running. We are always going to start with 4 old friends. They add 1 popularity each, the yellow number here corresponding with the yellow number here. We have 2 rich friends. They add $1 each, green for green, right? And we have our 4 wild buddies. So they add 2 popularity, but they also bring trouble, the little red X here. And trouble is a 3 strikes and you're out mechanic. If you ever have 3 troublemakers at a party, the cops show up, bust the whole thing, and you get no points, no money for the entirety of the round. And we have 25 rounds to throw the ultimate party. And the ultimate party is a 4-star party where we have 4 different guests show up who all are star worthy. And we'll see those when we get to the shop. We'll get a little bit more specifics about what we're working with on this run. We don't know yet. But what I can tell you is some basic strategy that is going to work for all the campaigns and even the random ones. If you follow this formula, you have at least a good chance of winning. I think my highest streak is like 9. So there's definitely still some chance to it, but you're going to have a lot more success if you just kind of follow this general template. And, the fun of the game is, for me at least, comes from the individual combinations of characters. So, having the framework doesn't actually win the game for you. It just gives you a plan. You still have to figure out how to mix the particular blend of cast of characters that you receive into a win. But the basic strategy goes a little something like this. The first thing we want to do is increase our house. Right now we can fit 5 guests at our house. And that's just not enough. We're going to need more. We have multiple rows of spots available here, and we need to get more people into the house. So how do we do that? We need money. House upgrades are the only thing that we use the money for. Our first one is $2, and that's going to bump us up to 6 people in the house, and then it goes up to 3 and 7 and so on until you get to $12. You can add an infinite amount of spots, but they don't ever cost you more than $12. Right, so we know we're going to need some slots, which means we're going to need some money. So the first thing we're going to do is add some people who can get more money for us. And as we add on those additional slots to fit more guests, the next thing that we're going to have to think about is dealing with the troublemakers, right? The troublemakers are always going to be a problem. We can't remove any of those 4 wild buddies that we have. They're just stuck in our Rolodex for the entirety of our 25 turns. So what do? We either find ways to deal with the trouble, people who are good at shutting down trouble, or people who can help remove trouble from the party once they've already shown up. Or we just make a Rolodex so big that those 4 troublemakers that we have just don't all show up. What you do is going to really depend on who you're given to work with. But I can say that every unit in the game I've used every single unit to win at some point. So there's not really any dead units. Some are going to look better than others depending on your mix. But there is always a way. So once we get some money going and deal with the troublemakers, then we're going to want to switch to popularity. And we're going to want to switch to popularity because the last step is to find our star guests. and they're pricey. They're going to take anywhere from like 35 to 55 popularity to just to get onto our roster. And we're going to need 4 of those, right? So we're looking at like, what's that? Somewhere around like 150 to 200 popularity in total. And that's not including anything else that we want to buy along the way, anyone else who we want to invite to our party. That is just for the end game that we're going to need that much. And you can also see that we have a max of how much we can get in one given turn of 65. We can't roll forward with more than 65. So we can't even start to net this early and keep it until later. We have to generate it kind of all in a matter of turns. And we want to spread it out, something where it's like we're getting around 25-ish a turn, which means we can buy a star guest every other turn. That's ultimately what we want to do in the end game. And if we're talking about like actual turns, the money, that's going to be the first like 5 or so turns that we're trying to make money, and then dealing with the trouble is going to be the next 5. Starting to scale our popularity is going to be the next 5, and making sure we have enough winning guests is going to be right up until the end, right? So that's the general game plan. Let's see how we can put that into effect with this particular setup. So we have 2 troublemakers. We have 1 more spot in our house, but we're just going to call the party here and settle for our 5 popularity and $1. So here's our house upgrades. Like I said, the first one's $2, so we can't actually do anything about that yet. And we do have 5 popularity to spend on any of these, any of the ones that are lit up here in yellow. We could bring any single one of these. We mentioned that we want money, so let's take a look at the ones that make money. We could bring some more rich pals. They bring $1 each. There's the rock star. He's trouble, which is a bit of an issue because, like we said, we already have the 4 wild buddies who are trouble. So we don't necessarily want to add more troublemakers, but if it's the only way to make money, I mean, it is twice as much money as our rich pal. So, and it gives us a little popularity bump. So that's an option. The other option is the gangster. Gangster is also trouble, adds no popularity but 4 cash, and 4 is a lot. So maybe we do gangster. Well, we can't afford it yet, we just have to go to the next round. Maybe we can pick up $1 here as well. No luck on the money, but we do get up to 12 popularity, so we could take do we want 2? Maybe. Let's do 1, and yeah, let's just do 2. Try to get them to show up. There's 1, there's 2. Oh, this is huge. $8 takes us to 9. We're going to get multiple house upgrades. Look at this. $2 upgrade, $3 upgrade, $4 upgrade. We can fit 8 of the 12 people on our Rolodex now. Unfortunately, we only have 2 popularity. The chances that we actually fill 8 spots in our house, very low. In fact, we're only going to fill 2. Which is fine. We had a really good turn last turn. We will start to move into our trouble mitigation now. So hippies cancel 1 trouble. They also give us 1 popularity. What else do we have here that can help cancel trouble? We have the security guard who can boot out a guest. So once a troublemaker shows up, we can just kick him out. The big difference here being that hippie gives a popularity on her own. Security guard does not give popularity. So that's a choice we have to make. Who else can we use to help make up for that? No one really. It's just between the security guard and the hippie. The ghost here can also boot out a guest, but this is one of our star guests. and as such, it is incredibly expensive. You know, we have two available to us. You have two every scenario, and we have the mermaid here at 35, and we have the ghost at 45. So we are gonna need to get to, what is that, buck 80, buck 90, buck 80, and maybe a little less. But you know, mermaid is not the ideal choice. Mermaid's ability is that she brings a guest with her, which means when you open the door to let the mermaid in, if you only have one spot, your party gets busted. And the fire department shows up, you go over capacity, and party gets shut down. Kind of like with the troublemakers, you get 0 points for the round. A bit of a bummer. So this is one that takes a little bit extra management. That's why it's so cheap, 35. And so I'm thinking we're probably going to have mostly the ghosts at 45. But for now, we will just take our first troublemaker, try to get maybe one or two again next round. The fact that we got all of these expansions so early, it's great. It's just a little unfortunate that we can't quite use them yet. That's okay, we'll get another hippie here, and maybe we get a hippie to show up. Or not. It's okay, we're having some small parties, but it's still early. We only just entered the kind of second phase, you know, and like I said, we want to spend these early turns just making money, and we did that pretty successfully. We're up to 9 slots in our house out of the 14 guests in our Rolodex. We still have $4 left over, and our next house upgrade is only 6. So we really only need another $2 next round, which is just a single gangster. And we'll end up getting another house upgrade. Unfortunately, though, we did miss on our 4th popularity. So no more hippies, which are going to be important to having as big a party as possible. Maybe we get a hippie this time. Show me a hippie. Not quite, but we'll take it. It gets us enough popularity to bring another hippie. Not 2, but 1 at least. And it gets us another house upgrade. We have $4 left over. We need another 3 for our next house upgrade, which is only one gangster showing up, and we have it. And we get to 4 popularity again, so we get another hippie. We get another house upgrade. And, you know, we've been throwing pretty small parties. Now that we have 4 hippies, I'm feeling a lot better about it. I think we'll start actually filling up our house a little bit more now. And there we go. There's our first hippie. We actually get 2 hippies here. Let's just bring 4 troublemakers to the party, and you'll see just how much more we score on this party. Just because the hippie showed up, we get $10 and up to 9 popularity. That is another house upgrade. And we still left 1 slot empty. So maybe we go with our secondary plan of security guards. But we are going to want to transition to some popularity building as well. So let's take a look at that, because that's kind of the next thing we're going to want to buy. We can bring some caterers. They're 4 popularity. They cost us a cash, but we do make a good amount of cash. You know, these gangsters are fueling us pretty well, so that is an option. We could do catering. And what else can we do? We can do the comedian. Comedian gives +5 popularity as long as we can fill the house, which we have been having a little trouble doing. So maybe that's not the best option. Both of these cost us $1. -1 cash, -1 cash. What else do we have for popularity? We have the introvert, who, if we get enough empty spaces, can basically score 1 point per empty space. It's an option, but I think the comedian or the caterer are better options. We also have the mascot, who gets +1 for each old friend. Of course, we have 4 old friends. And we have the option to bring another 4, so we could go up to 8 old friends, along with the mascots. That could do it as well. It doesn't cost us money, but it does cost us spots, right? We need a lot of spaces in our house to be able to get, a couple of mascots and 4 or 5 old friends to make mascot worth it. If we look at comedian gives us 5, caterer gives us 4. If we're gonna get at least that, we probably do need to add more old friends, and then we also need to make sure our house is bigger. Right now we only fit 12 of our 16 guests. If we add 8 more guests, trying to get this up it's going to be difficult. We've kind of plateaued, right? If we take a look at our Rolodex, the absolute most that we can make is $10, 8 here and another 2 here. So once we hit those $12 upgrades, we're at 9. Once we hit the 12 plus upgrades, we're going to, not actually plus, sorry. They don't go past 12, but the flat 12 upgrades. We're not going to be able to do that in one round. We're going to have to go every other round where we get a house upgrade, and we're going to need to scale popularity faster than that. So, yeah, this one's going to be difficult. Maybe not my first choice. Even though it's going to cost us money, which is going to basically put a stop, maybe instead of every other round, we have to do every 3rd round we get a house upgrade. Once we start going this way, I think it's reasonable though. So let's take, we have 9 popularity to spend. We'll bring 1 security guard, and how about 1 comedian? Okay. We have 4 troublemakers left, 4 hippies, and 6 others. I'm gonna roll the dice on this and invite 1 more person. Okay. And I'm gonna end it there. Gets us 6 popularity, which brings... Let's do a caterer this time. Okay, we get our caterer. We also get a hippie. So we're going to be able to support a little bit more trouble. Still not a full party. Maybe we need another security guard? Maybe 2? What happens if we bring 3? And a house upgrade? Alright, let's try this. Alright, we've got 1 hippie, we've got a couple security guards, we've got all the hippies. Alright, so security guards, since they don't bring anything on their own, you're booted. And you're booted. And you're booted. Look at that. That is one heck of a party. We get 15 popularity and $3. $3. That's like every 4 turns, if that's the kind of money we're making, every 4 turns that we're going to be able to afford a house upgrade. So that is going to slow dramatically. So we do need to keep in mind that of our 22 current guests, we only fit 13. And if you remember, we started with 5 spots and 10 guests, 1 to 2 ratio. So maybe we try to keep it under that 1 to 2. And so if we're trying to do 1 to 2, that would be, with 13 spots, 26. So we could bring a couple more guests without really messing too badly with our, with a ratio of guests to available slots in a house. So who do we want? We want more popularity, right? We just got the 1 comedian, 1 caterer. They're not showing up nearly enough. We actually want them to show up a lot more than that. Let's take another one of each and go to the next party. Alright, we've got a caterer, we've got 2 hippies, 3 hippies, so security guard, unnecessary. Oh, who did I get? Oops, I don't know who I actually booted there. Alright, now we're ramping. We're starting to get a little ramp going. It's turn 12. We have about half of what we need for our first star. So potentially we could buy one on turn 11, which is great. You know, anything, if you get your first one around turn 10, you're on good pace to be able to throw the ultimate party. If it's after that, it's gonna be difficult, but certainly doable. It really just depends how hard you scale. You know, these are our 2 choices for popularity here, giving us 5 and 4. Pretty good, but, you know, you can only bring so much to a party. So, I think we're fine scaling at a rate of being able to pick a star up every other turn, and if a first one is on turn 11, and then turn 9, turn 7, turn 5. That gives us 5 turns to throw the ultimate party, which should be plenty. Plenty of time for things to roll our way. So in that scenario, do we want to bring a couple more points still? Maybe. You know, it's a fine line. Again, we need to balance how many people can come to our party with how many people we have in our Rolodex. Right now we have 4 people who make a good amount of popularity, and what did we say earlier? We wanted like 25-ish around. So if we're looking at 5 and 5 and 4 and 4, plus, you know, a couple points from the other stragglers, that's close. You know, we're getting 22 or so around. Maybe we want to get one more then. Maybe we want one more. Because they're also not all going to show up in the same party. Comedian is worth more total, giving us 5 instead of the 4 out of the caterer. So let's just go hard and see if we can pull it off. We have been throwing big parties, so I'm not worried about that. We have the security guard to boot a troublemaker here, since we've only had 1 hippie show up. And we've got 2 comedians and a caterer, which is going to put a big tax on our money. Let's kick out a security guard. Oh, alright. It all balances out. We do still end up with $7.43 points. Unfortunately, a little shy of getting our ghost. It's actually a really awkward spot because we're so close to the popularity cap as well. You know, we can make, what, 22 points this round? Which we want to be doing anyway. We want to be hitting like 20 to 25. So maybe it's fine, and we'll plan to cap out this turn. Maybe if we're lucky, we'll also get up to $10 and can afford a house upgrade. We'll see what happens. Ooh. Well, comedians are no good if we can't throw a full party. Alright, well, this round is a bust. The cops showed up. We give one of these buddies the blame. The wild buddy, and now the wild buddy can't show up to our next party. Which means there's one less to choose from. We just gotta roll the dice here. Okay. We have so much trouble mitigation between the 4 security guards and the 4 hippies. And we only have 6 troublemakers, so the odds are certainly in our favor. We don't need a security guard though, we'll boot the security guard. Alright, this one's big. I think we're actually going to go over cap here. Yeah. We probably lost about 10 points, but it's fine. It's fine, we get our first ghost, which is going to give us another way to boot out a troublemaker. Which is actually perfect. We are still struggling with dealing with all these troublemakers. Kick this one out. Alright, boot a security guard, bring someone else in, boot a security guard. And 39. Still shy of our 45. Okay. Is there anything else we want in the end game? Well, we only get about half of our guests to come to any given party, and looks like we're gonna probably slowly roll into one more house upgrade before the end. So we can invite some drivers. They can fetch a specific guest. So they can get, you know, maybe our hippie, or on a turn that we're trying to win, they can get our ghost. We can do the same with a magician. Let's bring one magician for our one ghost and see if that helps. Alright, we've got one troublemaker, 2 comedians. Okay, let's start kicking some people. We'll kick out a troublemaker. Alright, we get to bring a hippie. We'll kick out the ghost. Since it doesn't add any points, we'll kick out a security guard. We'll kick out a security guard, and we'll kick out a security guard. Alright, look at this. We go up to 61, so we don't cap, which is nice. We get to effectively keep all of our points. We pick up another ghost, and we could pick up the house upgrade here, but we don't want to run out of money. We want to make sure we can pay our caterers and comedians. So we will wait one more turn to buy the house upgrade. Yeah. Kick out this troublemaker. Alright. Okay. I see. That was an unfortunate roll there, and we score no points. House upgrade would not have mattered. We came nowhere near filling it. We are on turn 6. We were supposed to buy another star this round, and so instead of 7-5, we're going 6-4. We're gonna be pushing it. It's gonna be close. This will be a close one. Let's see if we can pull off the ultimate party. I have faith in our abilities, but you know, Lady Luck sometimes has other plans. Okay, we've seen no hippies. Boot a security guard. Bring someone else in. Boot the ghost. Bring someone else in. Boot the ghost. Bring someone else in. Okay. Not a lot of popularity. Really unfortunate. We will pick up the house upgrade and another magician. And then throw another party. Alright, boot. We just gotta roll. Okay. We will use the magician and turn the security guard into a ghost. Right? And now we can use the ghost to boot this wild buddy, and we're... Can we look at our Rolodex really quickly? We have 2 troublemakers left. We have 4 hippies and 3 security guards. I'm just going with it. Okay, we swap out. Who do we swap? Let's swap the wild buddy. Okay, maybe we should have done that one first. We'll boot out the ghost, bring in one more person, boot out the security guard. 4 comedians. We at least get a nice payoff this round. We go up to 63 points. We get to bring another ghost. That's 3 out of our 4. And we do still need all of them to show up to a party. Let's bring another magician. Do we get the 4th? I think we wait on the 4th. And just kind of see what happens. We get a couple hippies early here, which is good. I want to see some more comedians. Let's boot out... Do we boot out the troublemakers? I mean, we don't really need to since we have the hippies. So maybe we don't really need the money though. Let's boot out a rich friend. And we'll boot out the security guard. Okay. Now we need to boot out a troublemaker. We'll boot out... We'll boot out the money. I think we're beyond needing money. We'll boot out a ghost. We'll boot a ghost. Who's left? We still have 2 comedians and our caterer who have not shown up, so let's swap out the last ghost. Okay, we get a security guard. Security boots out security, brings in another hippie. Okay, 39. Unfortunately, we can't afford anything. We could bring the mermaid? Do we want to try to bring a mermaid? Maybe a little risky. Of course, now I'm looking at... Well, we would have been fine. We actually would have been fine, because we only brought the one magician. Since we're guaranteed a ghost next round, maybe we bring the magician this round. Okay, boot out the money. Oh, we're really getting the short end of it on this one. We have 2 turns left, and we still need another star. So we need a perfect party this round. Boot out troublemaker. Bring in... Oh. Alright, we've got some hippies. We've got 1 comedian. Boot out... Who do we boot? We'll boot the rich friend. We'll boot one of these ghosts. We'll boot a security guard. And that's the party. Okay, we get our last ghost. We have our last magician. And I think we just have to run with it. And we'll see if we get lucky or not. Okay, there's 1 ghost. Magician counts for another. There's 2. There's 3. And there's 4. So we'll boot out troublemaker. Bring some more guests, and we'll boot out a troublemaker. Let's just have a nice, chill party. Boot out. You know what? I don't want the second comedian. We'll boot the second comedian, and then we transform. And then that's it. Wow, okay, I wasn't sure if we were gonna make it, but we did still manage to throw the ultimate party with just 1 day left. Our very last chance to throw the ultimate party, and we did it. We got there even with the cops showing up. Gosh, how many times was that? 3 or 4? and we just followed the formula, right? Basic strategy: make some money. We did that with our gangster, and mitigate the trouble. We did that with our hippies. Add in some high popularity. We did that with the comedians and the caterer, and then pick up your stars, right? So that's kind of the basic strategy for this game. And like I said, the fun for me is in the implementation. You know, we had a couple different lines that we could have taken, and we even mixed it up a little bit. You know, we did a mix of comedians and caterers. We also had the mascot. We could have done a mascot build with this setup. So there's lots of ways to get to your end game, but they are going to follow a certain path generally, and if you follow this path, it's just more likely that you're actually going to get there. So if you've been struggling to actually finish, you know, maybe you're just trying to do things out of order. I know sometimes it can seem like you want popularity first to be able to buy the more units to be able to make the money, but since your first units are relatively cheap, you know, maybe they take a round or two to save up enough popularity to get. It's usually fine, and usually still worth it to make the money first, even if it means adding trouble. You know, we added 2 troublemakers before we even started thinking about dealing with the trouble. And we just accepted that we would have small parties, and we threw a lot of small parties, but it was still enough in the end to get us to that, you know, 20 to 25 popularity every round for those last. Where did we start? I think there was a point where it was 11 or 12 turns left, and we were almost ready to pick up our first star. Of course, you know, you saw how it went off the rails a little bit. We did still get there, but yeah, that's the formula. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you had fun at the party. And let me know if you have any questions, or if you want to do another one or need help with a particular scenario. We can run through any of those.